mediocre cover band guitar guy. Pretty easy intro this morning to something that came up a little bit ago. Straight into the amp, no pedal board, just this old wireless that I've been having a bit of problem with as of late, but I just slapped it in the amp. My pedal board's packed away, and all my cables because we played a gig last night. And I'm probably going to do a video on that later. It's probably going to be tomorrow. And I started a little vlog about it, and what ended up happening was we got sound check, we went home, came back to a club with a lot of people in it, and there was a lot of debauchery on stage in terms of sound, and frequency wash was, I believe, the term we were given, at the hands of a very amateur sound guy. So I'll get into all that on that video. But at today's task, I want to say thank you for watching the video I posted on the Strat and the volume knob. For those of you who actually watched the video and then commented, thank you very much. Didn't matter if you liked the Strat or loved it or hated it or whatever. Like if a lot of people found that this was in a weird position for them as well. It wasn't just me. Some guys decided to comment without reading other people's comments and or watching the video, and those comments I did not put up, except for the very last guy who I knew did not watch the video. I left his comment there. It's the very last comment on it. But I tell you what, I played this guitar last night. I gigged with it because I've been working with this guitar for 9 months, which I've mentioned in the video. And I played this the whole night without switching out a guitar and minimal tuning. So I gotta give it credit there. Like, the stability in its tuning was unreal, and intonation, it's great. Alright, let's get at the task of hand here. Practice. Who still practices? Who does practice? What do you practice? Who's got like a very strict regimented practice routine where you sit down and you learn licks and you learn things using things like metronomes and drum machines and all that stuff? Like, are people still doing that? Because, you know, you do have some, like, you watch the videos on YouTube and some guys are doing that. Like, for me, in the beginning, it was, you learned your chords, and you learned and you thought you'd arrived, you know, especially when you hit like a bit of overdrive. But are people still like learning your major scale, or are they just jumping into YouTube and learning songs and learning things that way? Or are you starting from the beginning where this is your E string, this is a G note, this is an A note, this is a scale, this is how scale is made, this is how chords are made? Are people still going through that whole process of learning right from the very beginning, to the point where you pick up a guitar and you don't even know how to hold a pick? You know what I mean? And or are you like myself in one sense that, like, yes, I've actually gone to guitar teachers in the past. I've had 2 teachers. One was long-term-ish, and the other one was for about 6 months, and I had to give up, which really sucked. But, or are you like me, where right now the only thing I'm learning or doing any different is I'm going out and learning songs that we are playing in the band, right? Because you're constantly dropping songs, adding songs, or just adding songs to try to bolster your set list to be as big as it can be, so you've got that, I guess, likability for crowds. You know what I mean? Like, you can sort of pander to a younger audience of people my age and people older by playing music that were popular in their generations and stuff that's familiar, and, you know, learning the hits and all that good stuff. Or, you know, are you actually sitting down with a metronome and learning things? So that's my question of the day. You know, is it practice or what? And here's a great thing, the conversation I heard one time, and a guy said to a fellow in a guitar store, and it was, you must have been a natural, like, it must come easy for you, it must be, you know, you must have, whatever. And the guy was like, no, practice. And they said, well, you know, you must have had it in you, it must be natural ability. He was like, no, practice. I worked really hard to get here where I am, and I had to practice, you know, 4 hours a day, every single day, without fail, all in a row. I would come home and do my homework, get that done, and from about 6 at night until 10 at night, 7 or 11, whatever, I played guitar and practiced things and worked on them. And this guy was a phenomenal player, and said to me afterwards, he said, I don't really know if I believe, he said, I think some people have better ears, are born with a better ear and a better understanding of melody, but it all takes practice to get where you're going. And if you don't pick up an instrument, like Yngwie Malmsteen says, he doesn't practice, but he's been playing long enough, and I guess it's one of those things where he's writing his material. So he's sitting down, and he's trying to make riffs fit together, and come up with ideas that way, and whatever. But I think we all practice to some degree because we rip things off all the time. Like if I learn a song and I learn a solo and there's a little lick in there that I like, and I'm improvising something one night, I'll steal that lick if I can make it fit in it, right? And I think as players, most of us do. I remember reading an interview with Kirk Hammett, and he said, about you can imitate, imitate to create. You learn, how the masters did it, and then you just put it in a big ball, and that becomes your playing, and you pick out of it what you can. And, but you got to learn it first, right? So just interested to see who actually sits down for a few hours a day and learns something different, whether it's scales, whether it's like they want to sit down and learn all these big jazz chords, different styles of music, like how do you and what do you practice? The how is a big one for me. I got ADD, and like fucking practice is rough for me. I'll sit down and go, okay, I want to learn this. And I remember when I was taking lessons, like it was brutal, and they gave me the major scale and said, learn that, and I want you to know it when you come back next week. You don't have to have it perfect, but I want you to be able to show me. And that was really hard because he wanted me to practice an hour and an hour and a half a day at minimum without learning the new songs. Like that was separate. That wasn't practice. That was work. That's what he said. You're preparing for your work. I want you to practice to learn these things that you're doing now. That'll also help you down the road to understand theory, music, and where things come from when you hit a note, where the next note should be when you're learning solos and things like that. So it's not just all thrown out there. So that's my question. We went the long way around as we usually do, but who practices? All right, guys, thank you very much. And like I said, I hope to have the video about my gig. I am going to include the little snippets that I did. There's a little snippet of sound check, like I'll throw that in there. And all that good stuff. Thank you very, very much, guys, once again, for all the support. Please hit the like and subscribe if you want, but I'm just glad to have you here. Okay? Thanks.